Hello again, fight fans. Welcome to episode number 269 of the Neutral Corner Boxing Podcast. Back after a 1-week hiatus. I missed you guys. I hope that you missed me and you're ready to do some TNC. This is episode 269 for the week of June 12th. And June 13th, this Sunday, is my birthday. I'm officially turning 42 years old. Holy shit. Hey, I'm not yet in my mid-40s. I'm still in my early 40s, so I'll take it. But yes, I turned 42 this Sunday, so wish me a happy birthday on the chat. As always, I remind you guys, please make sure that you're subscribed to the Ring Digital YouTube channel. Make sure that you're subscribed to Montero Unboxing's platforms, my YouTube channel and all the audio podcast platforms where you listen to this very show as we go live. Monday, hear the video, and then Tuesday, the audio pod gets released. So make sure that you're subscribed. And I know you guys will say, oh, man, I know I'm subscribed. Well, guess what? Check again, because as I always remind you, Google/YouTube loves to do this crazy stuff with the algorithm, and they love to unsubscribe people. I don't know why they do that, but it's what they do. Anyway, so again, this Sunday is my birthday. And I'm kind of training right now, so I'm not going to be going out and doing anything too fun. No drinking right now. I'm eating good, trying to cut down that weight. I got some stuff in the works for later this summer. It keeps getting delayed. I want to announce things. I want to tell you guys what's up. But because of the commission, because of certain things that are completely out of my control, I can't announce anything officially right now. So I'm just being patient, and I'm being diligent in my training and keeping all that up. But I got to say, hey, man, for 42 years old this Sunday, I'm in pretty damn good shape right now. I'm pretty light on my feet. I'm moving pretty well these days. So that's good, man. I've lost about 20 pounds since the start of the year. Anyway, lots to talk about, man. So let's, let me jump over. Let me get my banner showing. There it is. Yeah, we're going to start news and notes right now. We're going to jump right into this, guys. I think I skipped over this part of the intro. You guys know this. I am your host, Michael Montero, for Ring Magazine, ringtv.com, and the Ring Digital YouTube channel. That's always like right in the first sentence or two or three, and I skipped right over that today. You know, it is a rainy, drab, gray day here in Atlanta, Georgia. We could use the rain, so I ain't complaining, but it's one of those days, man, where you just want to take a nap. You just want to close your eyes and take a nap on the couch under the blankets. But it's not nap time. It's TNC time. So let's get right into the news and notes. And we were off last week. So there was a few things that happened, but not a whole lot of craziness. Jean Pascal tested positive for 4 different types of performance-enhancing drugs. I won't get into all the drugs and what all of them do. They're all bad. And considering the run that Pascal has been on recently in his career, this raises a huge cloud of suspicion. I was ringside for his fight with Badu Jack. That was on the undercard of the Davis-Gamboa fight. I think that was late 2019. It was probably December 2019. And, of course, Davis is going to fight here later this month back in Atlanta. But I thought that was a good, entertaining fight between Pascal and Jack. But now we really got to call into question Pascal's win over Jack that night, and then also his win over Marcus Brown that came recently. Look, I'm not going to cast any aspersions or anything like that or make accusations, but Jean Pascal was working with, I believe, Memo Heredia and his team, right? And so do the Paul brothers. So do some other folks in boxing right now. And again, I'm not saying that this is 100% on those guys, but Jean Pascal was working with them, and this happens. And there's a history with some of those folks and other people testing positive. Looks a little suspicious to me. So thank goodness for VADA testing doing what they do, because USADA and other testing programs, UCAD over in the UK, are a complete joke, and they're worthless. And they just hand out TUEs. Well, they don't just hand them out. They sell them when people test positive. VADA does their thing. Remember, it's the voluntary association. And so you gotta pay unless you're part of the WBC program. We've talked about that before. That's a little flawed because the funding isn't quite there. But if you're paying to do VADA testing, and Andrew using, it's kind of stupid. And look, we've seen cases where people have tested positive for traces of a certain banned substance here, there, and it can be explained through some sort of accidental ingestion or something like that. But when you test positive for 3 or 4 different things, man, I mean, this is like Jarrell Big Baby Miller-esque for Jean Pascal. This is just bad news. So he needs to go away now. You go bye-bye now. Showtime Boxing signed a deal with the Paul brothers and will be showcasing their fights going forward. I guess Jake Paul is fighting some MMA guy I've never heard of who has limited stand-up skills for multiple reasons. And that's why Jake's going to fight him. And I guess that's going to be on Showtime. And this fight, this exhibition match between Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather, that was on Showtime as well. Or I should say Showtime pay-per-view, sorry. The Paul brothers fight. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Showtime Boxing. I do know that their last 2 regular boxing cards did abysmal ratings, just over 200,000 average viewers for the last couple regular Showtime Boxing main events. And that's not to beat up on Showtime Boxing, but those are abysmal ratings. And I do know that a portion of their ratings are going to the Showtime app. They don't release those ratings. And for the record, DAZN doesn't release their ratings. We don't hear about the ESPN Plus ratings when it comes to boxing. So a lot of these people are hiding the ratings that we get. But man, Showtime Boxing, if you're buying into the Paul brother business, I know there's money involved in that, although yesterday's show is going to be a financial bloodbath from what I heard from multiple sources. But how much longer is Showtime going to be in the boxing business? I just don't know, man. A lot of people are calling for Showtime, the extinction of Showtime Boxing very, very soon. I don't think we're quite there yet. I do think they're going to be around for a little while. But the business plan right now, what is it? What exactly is the business plan? What is the business model? Because you go dormant for half the year and don't give us any news, and then suddenly you drop a pretty nice schedule on us. I got to say, great schedule that they have over the summer. Only one of those fights is pay-per-view, although it shouldn't be. But there's a great unification at 154, and there's some other good fights there. A couple unifications, actually. But if you're signing the Paul brothers and those fights are all going to pay-per-view, I get it. That makes a little money in the interim. But long-term, is that a business model that you can keep? Is there anything to build on there? I just don't know. It's difficult for me to say where all this stuff is going, man. But that's pretty much it with news and notes. For those of you just getting on the chat, at the very, very beginning of the show, I said that I mentioned that this Sunday, June 13th, is my birthday. I will be turning 42 years old this Sunday. And people are asking, hey, what are your plans? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Pretty much keeping quiet, man. I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat bad because I'm trying not to do that right now. I'm trying to train for something, for some competition stuff later this year, stuff that keeps getting pushed back, the dates and everything. So I can't really make an official announcement yet. But yeah, I'm trying to be good, So maybe I have one beer or something on my birthday, but that's pretty much it. Because I know a lot of you guys would be like, shorts, for my birthday and stuff. And I appreciate it. I do. But I'm going to have to put all that on the side for now. Maybe New Year's Eve. We'll put that on the side for the New Year's Eve celebration. All right, that's it for news and notes. I don't know how long this show is going to be, guys. By the way, I'm going to jump to some calls, obviously, later on. So I see a couple of you guys already on the line. If you want, hang on the line or call back in a few minutes. But listen, you guys out there know that I try different things on the show. Some things work, some things don't. We always fine tune it. But there were a bunch of you who said that the last show had too many calls and the calls were too long. Okay, I heard you loud and clear. So on those days where we're getting a lot of calls, and there are just going to be days like that, guys, because, there was a hell of a fight that we talked about a couple weeks back, right? That 140 unification. There's going to be a lot of callers for that. But I will do a better job in the future of keeping the calls shorter. So I ask that you guys who do call in, be ready to jump to it, man. Be ready to jump to your points and hit on your stuff because we got to move it along because, there are people out there. Some people love the calls. Some people hate the calls. Personally, I like the calls. I love talking to you guys on the phone. That's why I got the phone lines. But sometimes we got to cut these calls a little shorter, maybe 5 minutes or less, all right? So public service announcement there as we get into the fight review. And we have a couple of things to review. So because, again, I didn't do a show last Monday. So let's jump back Saturday, May 29th. I want to hit on these things. And also the last show, 268, I completely forgot about the preview part. We had so many calls. The show went over 2 hours, and I didn't even get to the fight preview. So I apologize for that, guys. It's hard when you're hosting by yourself. You know, there's a lot of stuff to cover and remember while you're live. And, you know, I just completely forgot. I had my notes, had it all lined up, completely forgot. So Saturday, May 29th, Devin Haney scores a unanimous decision win over Jorge Linares on the Zone. This was from Las Vegas. And Haney got stunned late. There was a little bit of holding, or actually a lot of holding in the later rounds. The crowd booed him. There were a lot of people beating up Devin Haney on Twitter. And I tweeted some things that were taken as me dissing Haney. It wasn't dissing Haney. It was dissing the state of the game, right? The state of where boxing is at right now. Because the reality is, Devin Haney is 22 years old. He came into this fight with Jorge Linares as a prospect. I don't give a shit what the WBC says. And to be clear, he is the WBC's lightweight champion right now. That's officially what it is. Although Teofimo Lopez is the franchise champion. Make sense of that however you want to. But technically, Devin Haney is the WBC title holder. Thing is, he was a prospect going into this fight. This fight was his entrance into contendership, into contender status. And he was supposed to take a few lumps in this fight. He was supposed to get hurt, get stunned, face some adversity, and pull through. That's how you build a prospect into a contender, and a contender into a champion, and hopefully a champion into a star. Those are the steps. Now, unfortunately, the sanctioning organizations and the promoters and the fighters are all in bed with them in this regard, but they've kind of ruined that process. And there are prospects out there with titles. And I get it. The fighters take the titles because the fighters want the paydays that come with the titles and the recognition. Let's be clear about something, though. Again, I don't give a shit what the WBC says. Devin Haney, I'll call him a contender now. He's a baby contender. He's a top 10 lightweight, lower top 10 lightweight, nowhere near the top 5 at 135, but he's in the top 10 now. And he's you know, earned that position with this win over Linares. But this dude was getting 7-figure paydays as a prospect. He was getting 7-figure paydays for the last couple of years, I think, to fight B and C level opposition for a title that he won over an email. So I tweeted about this, and I mentioned, and I'm not going to spend too long on this. I know a lot of you guys don't want to get into the politics, but I want to make it clear and put it on record because some people misinterpreted one particular tweet of mine. Because you have a character limit on Twitter, and I posted one tweet and nested it in a bunch of other tweets and kept retweeting, like quote tweeting myself and adding to it. And in one of them, I mentioned that Devin Haney was privileged, especially before the Linares fight, coming into the Linares fight. He proved himself a little bit with this performance, in my opinion. Even though it wasn't a scintillating performance, again, he passed the test. But man, he's privileged. Now, some people, that P word, that particular privileged word, seems to really irk people and really, really touch people's heart politically, because there's a lot of political subtext to that word, depending on what your political worldview is. And they said it was my tweet. There were people out there saying my tweet was racially based and politically driven. And no, it wasn't. I was just telling the truth about this new generation of fighters. I never said Devin Haney's the only overly privileged kid right now. Look at Ryan Garcia. Look at the freaking Paul brothers. They're not even boxers. Okay, so this goes around, all around, all right, all different circles. But it's present mostly, I would say, with young American fighters. And in the case of Devin Haney, in this particular instance, because he was the guy fighting, again, this dude was making 7-figure paydays and got a title over email. And he hadn't fought anybody. And now he finally fought a top 10 guy in Linares, a guy who has been stopped a couple times in recent years by smaller dudes, by the way, a guy that's well past his best days. Put up a good fight in the last few rounds, was really, I think, the last push in the career of Jorge Linares. Good for him. He's had a great career, but he's well past his best days. And Haney passed the test, did everything he's supposed to do. Maybe it wasn't an A+, but it was a solid B, his performance in that fight, in my opinion. And I get it. People are like, well, he's a champion now, so we got to hold him to champion standards. Well, yes and no. I don't recognize Devin Haney as a champion. To me, the champion is Teofimo Lopez, okay? All the other shit is just noise. And I don't give a damn. Ryan Garcia is going to end up getting a chunk of a title at some point, and some of these other young guys without facing top elite level opposition. That's what happens in the current state of boxing. These young dudes are privileged. And, I'm trying to think of a better word. That also starts with P. So I also thought, how about pampered? Does that make you guys feel more comfortable? Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and several of these other young guys, they're pampered. Does that make you feel better? I'll use that word going forward, okay? We'll strike privileged from the record because that really bothered some of you. Really, it was only like a small portion, but it's a very loud small portion. 90% of you understood what I was saying. But I'll use the word pampered. These young dudes are pampered right now. The only ones I can't say that about are guys like Teofimo Lopez, who fought the top dude. And there's a handful of these young guys. Josh Taylor, even though he's not young, he's 30 years old. But in his professional boxing career, he is young, less than 20 fights. Same thing with Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight, not necessarily at heavyweight, although he does want to fight the best. He wants to fight Anthony Joshua. It's Joshua's team that's dragging their feet when it comes to that matchup. But Usyk is 30, 31, 32, something like that. But in his boxing career, less than 20 fights, so still kind of young. So these guys are taking top challenges. I'm not talking about them. But these other young dudes who are fighting for high six figures, low seven figures, while they're still basically prospects, yeah, they're a little pampered. When you're getting a title belt through the email, while other dudes are fighting the dude who used to be the baddest man on the planet to win their titles, you're a little pampered. Sorry if that offends some of you. And by the way, I'm not saying this to get down on Devin Haney. I got nothing against Devin Haney. I don't like some of the things he says or whatever, but he's a young guy trying to boost his brand and all that. I get all of it. Okay, truly, I get it. But this isn't me hating the player. This is me hating the game. This is the level of boxing in 2021 and the state of the sport in 2021 that drives me crazy. So I'm talking about that. Guys like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, etc., they are a byproduct of the current state of boxing. It's not their damn fault. I ain't mad at Devin Haney for taking a title in the email. If you guys got the WBC emailed you a world championship belt with your name on it, would you tell them no? Fuck no. You take the damn title. So don't be mad. I'm not mad at Devin Haney or any of these other young guys. I'm mad at the game. But I'm calling it out. They're a little pampered. Yes, I said it. Sorry if that bothers you. Also, Saturday, May 29th, talking about the opposite of pampered. Nonito Donaire makes history. KO4 win over Nordine Ubali. This was on Showtime in Los Angeles. Wins the WBC bantamweight title. And he became, I think, the oldest fighter on record the oldest man to ever win a bantamweight title. He's almost 39 years old, and he was coming off an 18-month layoff. Remember, Donaire's last fight was that tough fight with Naoya Inoue. So this dude, was in a tough fight of the year 18 months ago. You had the COVID thing. He tested positive. He says it was a false positive. He was really upset about the fight being delayed and all that because this fight with Ubali was supposed to happen last year. But here we are, right? And it happened, and he maintains focus, the Filipino Flash, gets the stoppage. And now this dude has won titles at 112, 118, 122. And I think he unified at 22 and won the lineal legitimate championship there. So, it bears repeating. Nonito Donaire is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And what I love is he is the only fighter in all of boxing, actually the only athlete in all of sports. This goes beyond boxing, okay? The only athlete in all of sports, in a modern era of sports, to sign up for VADA testing 100%, 365 every day of the year at his expense. And he's been doing this for years. He is the first and only. Canelo Alvarez did it for 1 year. 1 year. And that was following a suspension when he tested hot. And there's some, look, the way he tested hot when he tested hot for, all that is a little gray area. Okay. But Canelo tested hot. For a year after that, his suspension, he did VADA testing. He deserves credit. He did a full year of that. But Nonito's been doing this for years. And this is a dude who's moved up and down in weight. Guys, to be almost 39 years old, winning titles, legitimate titles against legitimate dudes, in those lower weight divisions, I'm talking 126 and under, that is big time stuff. That's, I'm not going to say all time great. Nonito's not there, but absolutely first ballot Hall of Famer. And whatever ticket he's on, he's probably going to be the best fighter on that ticket. 5 years after, or a few years after he retires, he'll be one of the 5 guys, I should say, that is going to get the vote. And well deserved. So he drops Ubali twice in the third, once in the fourth. Absolute domination, fantastic performance. Also on this card, Subriel Matias and Gary Antoine Russell got KO wins. As I mentioned, though, at the top of the show, the main event for this fight averaged 200,000, just over 200,000 viewers. It was just over 200,000 viewers for Showtime's previous main event on May 15th, where Brandon Figueroa fought Luis Neri. Those are bad numbers, dude. Those are bad numbers. And I get it. A good chunk of the ratings are on the Showtime app, although they're not sharing those ratings, okay? And I can tell you guys this. If the ratings on the Showtime's app were much, much bigger than the ratings on Showtime, the TV network, the people at Showtime, the PR people, would be releasing the numbers. And believe me, they have the data. All that trending analysis is there. They have people tracking this stuff. If the numbers were spectacular, if they dwarfed the TV numbers, we'd be hearing them. They'd be released in the public. The fact that they're not tells me that these shows, top to bottom, are not doing very good ratings. It's such a shame, because I thought that card on May 29th from Showtime, from PBC, that was a pretty good card with a solid main event. And, especially Nonito Donaire, he deserved more people to see that fight after the contribution he has made to this sport. All right, Super Chat pledge from Feeling Dangerous 113. Thank you so much. He says, happy birthday. I'm on a slight delay, late getting here. Do you think Linares gets another shot at some point? He still puts on a good show. I think we look, in my opinion, again, the last few rounds against Haney was kind of the last stand of his career. That was the last, because he really almost had Devin, right? He was really making a strong push. Just started too late and, just didn't quite have enough. Now, a prime Jorge Linares against this version of Devin Haney, I think Haney would have been in trouble. He wouldn't have been in big trouble. But, yeah, he'll be in there again against the top 10 dude. He will. He'll be in there against the top guy. Maybe one more time if he wants to be. And it seems like he loves training. He's happy where he is in his career. He came out really without any injuries. So I absolutely think he'll be back. Do I think he'll win another title, a legitimate title? No. I just think that Jorge Linares has passed that point in his career. And there's no shame in that, man. He's had a good career. Really beautiful fighter to watch. Flawed, especially defensively, but been in some great fights, done very well for himself, won titles, made money, and been a guy that has been willing to, stamp his passport, fight on the road. The sport could use more Jorge Linares in it today. So thank you for the super chat. And thanks for the birthday shout out, man. I appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about these fights last week. So Saturday, June 5th, a couple of heavyweight fights. Ajit Kabayel approved to 21-0 with a unanimous decision win over Kevin Kingpin Johnson. This is in Germany. Johnson is 3-10 going back to 2017. He has lost 10 of his last 13. He has basically become a guy for prospects to build resumes off of. At this point, beating Kevin Johnson in 2021 doesn't even do what it did for you in 2015, right? Or even 2018. So Ajit Kabayel, I just don't know what to think about this guy. I don't see a future world champion here. I think if you're at that level, you stop this version of Kevin Johnson, or at least seriously hurt him and beat him up, because he has been stopped a few times. Johnson is known to go rounds. He helps guys, get rounds and learn things. So that's good. But man, at some point, I hope this dude's getting paid well, because at this point, he's just getting beat up to take L's to pad dudes' records. So at some point, him and his team need to have a look in the mirror. Also, Daniel Dubois, KO2 win over Bogdan Dinu. If you bet the over on this, I think the over-under was like 4 rounds. If you bet the over, you're dumb. This whole fight was designed as a layup for Dubois. This wasn't about getting rounds in. This was straight up to get confidence back. So he improved to 16-1, and there's rumors he may face Trevor Bryan next. I think Dubois has a piece of the WBA heavyweight crown, and I think Trevor Bryan has a piece. I don't know which piece. I think they have like 5 title holders at heavyweight. Seriously, I'm not even exaggerating. So maybe those two guys fight each other next. I think Dubois would mess Bryan up pretty well, but Bryan's big enough and could survive rounds in there. That would be a good rounds fight for Dubois, who continues to develop as a prospect. Don't give up on him just yet, just because he got beat down by Joe Joyce. In the end, he wasn't quite ready for that fight. And that matchup against Joyce exposed some holes in his game. But he can fix that. He's super young. So Danny Dubois is a prospect that I'm still keeping my eye on. I truly am. All right. And then Sunday, June 6th. I don't know what to call this. The main event was an exhibition, but the other cards or the other fights on the card were not. So this was a Showtime championship boxing pay-per-view from Mayweather Promotions, and top to bottom. And this is not to hate on Floyd or anything like that, but it just is what it is. This was one of the worst pay-per-view cards in recent memory for a mainstream boxing pay-per-view card that they were charging money for. I know there have been plenty of pay-per-views where they're charging $10, $20 for club shows and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking big name, one of the big platforms promoting it. This is one of the worst pay-per-views in recent memory. And also, not just because of the fights, but Showtime's performance. I don't know, because I didn't watch a stream. I didn't buy this. I just had no interest. It wasn't to hate. I said no interest, but I saw a bunch of you guys tweeting, and I read certain articles and stuff today that were talking about the fact that Showtime's stream was down if you ordered the pay-per-view on the app, or even if you ordered it on their TV network, it was down. And they're actually giving out refunds. There are links out there. If you guys experience glitches or you had problems with the stream, if you were one of those people that paid for it, you probably don't deserve a refund for being that gullible, but you can get a refund. So if you did have trouble, go out there. If you want, guys, just post a comment on this video or DM me or whatever on Twitter, and I'll give you a link where you can I think you have to fill out a form or something, and you can get a refund, okay? Because if you're going to pay for a shit show, at least you should be able to watch it without any interruption. So this card was at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, and ticket sales, as I told you, and I've told several of you on Twitter, because I've talked to several ticket broker friends of mine, they told me that the ticket sales were very, very poor. And again, that wasn't to hate. It wasn't me talking trash. It's just the reality of the situation. And if you saw the broadcast, I saw many of you tweeting about this, the crowd looked sparse. And it wasn't because there was rain going. It's because they just didn't sell the damn tickets. What they did do was sell/give away a bunch of high-priced tickets to some celebrity people and stuff. So in the lower bowl around the ring, apparently, and this is what I've been told by the people in the know that I talked to, they did sell some high-priced tickets right there around the ring. But the mid-price and low-price tickets did not go. They had a lot of trouble selling tickets to this show. And it was just vast contrast to recent shows that we saw from Canelo Alvarez, including his fight in Florida, which was mandated by the state government to have limited capacity. But for the limited capacity it had, it sold very, very well. And if you look at the opponent he was facing, it was a mandatory opponent who wasn't going to go more than 3 or 4 rounds. That card sold pretty well when Canelo fought in Miami earlier this year. And then what he just did in Dallas, of course, or Arlington, I should say specifically, a suburb of Dallas, that was like, holy shit, that was an amazing crowd, right? So this was vast contrast to that. So I do think more and more people are waking up to this clown stuff and saying, you know what, ain't worth my money to go down there and be a part of this. However, a lot of you must order the pay-per-view because there are a lot of you complaining. So let's talk about the undercard real quick. Luis Arias scores a split decision win over Jarrett Hurd. Arias was down in the 9th, but he pretty much controlled the action for a good 2/3 of this fight, I would say. Enough so. It wasn't like a completely one-sided fight, but it was clear enough where he won this fight, in my opinion. He clearly won this fight. Competitive, close, but he won. This was Hurd's first fight at 160. He has spent his career being a weight bully at 154. And I like Jarrett Hurd because of his style, his willingness to fight guys. He has fought top guys, and he's performed well for the most part. But J-Rock, to a certain extent, kind of took Hurd's soul, because after that fight, Hurd, coming off a 1.5-year layoff, looked flat in this fight. And he's just not going to be the same guy at 160 that he was at 154. Those same advantages that he had at 54, not going to have him at 60. And I always thought maybe the extra weight would do Hurd good, that maybe he'd have a little more offensive output, a little more stamina at 160 that he had at 154. It sure didn't look like it. And maybe he got a bad case of COVID or something, and they say that does hurt your respiratory, your recovery, and your conditioning for a little while. Maybe some of that was going on. We've seen that with a couple guys. I'm not sure, but it just doesn't look like the same dude that we were seeing at 154 for a while. So I don't know where Jarrett Hurd goes from here, to be honest with you guys. I really, really don't. Because on the surface, Hurd was supposed to win this fight, right? He was the A side coming in. This was supposed to be not a gimme, not a layup, but he was supposed to win this fight and show he's a top 10 guy, borderline top 10 guy right now at 160. He didn't pass that test. So he's kind of floating in limbo right now. And I don't know quite what to make of Jarrett Hurd. Badu Jack scores a TKO 4 win over Devin, who is a last-minute replacement for the drug cheat. So in the main event, Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fight to a distance. Okay, let's rant about this because let me get some drink of water here. Let me cleanse my palate. Let's see. There we go. All right, I had to prepare myself. Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fight to a distance. And I saw tweets about this and articles about this. The podcasts are talking about it. And there are people out there who are surprised. And the debate is, was this a moral loss for Floyd Mayweather because he couldn't knock out Logan Paul? Is this a moral win for Logan Paul because he went 8 full rounds with the best boxer of the generation? Blah, blah, blah. Man, it drives me crazy how easily people are duped into these narratives. It's just crazy. And I know, man, that's part of being involved in sports. And if you want to have a network job, especially if you look at the shows like First Take and those sorts of shows on ESPN, that's all it is casual take after casual take. It's just obvious fluff. It's just puff piece after puff piece. And I can't do it. I'm just not built that way. But casuals eat that shit up. In this event, I saw people that normally don't talk about boxing, Barstool Sports and people like that, talking about this and buying into all these casual narratives that anybody with an ounce of boxing history, an ounce of boxing knowledge, cuts through with a plastic butter knife instantly, like it's hot butter. But it fools these people. Guys, I'm not saying that there's conspiracy afoot. I'm not saying that this is, all planned and ordained by a group of elitist Illuminati in a room somewhere months ago. They planned out every round of this fight. I'm not saying that. But if you've been around long enough, okay, this is what Floyd does. And I'm not hating on Floyd at all. I used to criticize Floyd a lot. And most of my criticism of Floyd was because he called himself the best fighter ever. He said he was fighting the best. He sold people a bill of goods that was complete and utter bullshit for the most part. It was smoke and mirrors, low risk, high reward, manipulation of gullible fans, ignorant fans that didn't have the sophistication, the boxing knowledge and history that he could just take advantage of. And that used to kind of drive me nuts. But I'm at a point now where I get it. I just understand it, and it doesn't bother me. I don't get worked up about it. Floyd told you all. He told you this is legalized bank robbery. He said that in it. I don't know what interview it was or whatever in the lead up to the fight. And some of you were outraged at that comment. Some of you were like, oh my God, how could he say this? Oh my God, you were just so outraged, because everyone's outraged all the time now, right? People just wake up outraged. Floyd is being honest. He stopped bullshitting you guys. He got over being the snake oil dude, and he's just telling you the truth. He's like, yeah, this is legalized bank robbery. Shit, they're just giving me $10 million. Why not? Why not beat the hell out of this kid and get $10 million? Cool. This is free money. He told you all what it was, and you still bought into it and expected a different outcome. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, right? Floyd's just doing his thing. And Logan Paul, to his credit, I ain't mad at him. He's just doing his thing. They're two sides of the same damn coin. Logan Paul is the Paul brothers are the new Floyd Mayweather. That's pretty much the truth here. It's you guys out there who are the crazy people because you keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. You're mad that Floyd didn't go for the kill. Some of you are now, what's so genius about what Floyd and Logan did here is that there are people debating on Twitter. Logan Paul's fans think he got ripped off. They think he won the fight because he threw more punches. I've seen videos and tweets saying, look at how many more punches Logan threw. He won the fight because he threw more punches. They're actually saying that. And of course, Floyd's fans are saying, man, this dude's half his age, gave up 50 pounds. He couldn't even hurt Floyd. Floyd is the best fighter ever. Sugar Ray Robinson couldn't last 2 rounds with this chump or with this dude. And so they're believing that. It's genius. And you guys in the middle are like, oh my God, I paid $50 for this shit and I expected a stoppage. Did you really? Did you not think that there was a gentleman's agreement here? Because the Paul brothers have a brand that's going to be going for the next 10 plus years. They're not going to be in boxing 10 years from now. They're going to go into some other endeavor. Maybe it's music or acting or whatever the hell it is. But they'll go into something else. But they're going to be in boxing for at least the next 5 years, guys. They ain't going nowhere. They're like, holy shit, this is the easiest. It is so easy to manipulate people over here. Yeah, let's stay in boxing for a while we're young and can do this shit. But Paul's people met with Floyd's people. And I'm sure there was a discussion like, okay, dude, we can't get mangled and embarrassed in here. We got to save some face. We can't look stupid. How do we meet in the middle on this thing? And Floyd's team was like, dude, we're in our mid-40s. We ain't fought in 4 years. We don't want to look stupid either. And so they sat down, chopped it up, negotiated, and came up with exhibition. And some of you are surprised at the outcome. I'm not mad at Floyd. I'm not mad at Logan. It's you people who are nuts because you're expecting a different result. And dude, go back to Floyd's fighting career. This is the same guy that charged you $80 to fight Robert Guerrero, Andre Berto. He fought Zab Judah coming off a loss. I believe that was on pay-per-view. Carlos Baldomir, that was a pay-per-view. Marcos Maidana twice. Those were pay-per-view fights. This is the same dude who fought Tension, who the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Floyd Mayweather ran that commission. Okay, it wasn't Bob Bennett. Fuck that. It was Floyd. Bob Bennett did what Floyd told him to do. And Floyd got them to sanction a fight with Conor McGregor is a legitimate boxing fight. Okay? That commission regularly turns down opponents for Top Rank or whoever's going there to put on a fight with their prospects. They'll say, you can't put your prospect in there with this guy. He's got a record of 3-15. He's been knocked out 3 of his last 4 fights. They'll cut those fights all the time because they're undercard fights. But they sanctioned a fight between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor as a legitimate fight. That is on Floyd's legitimate boxing record, okay? That's the dude that you all are somehow believing is going to come into an exhibition match with Logan Paul and go for the kill and go for a knockout. Grow up. Grow up. Legalize bank robbery. Did that really offend you? Did that really bother you? Floyd was just telling you the truth. It's your stupid ass who wants to get upset about that. I can't believe some of you are surprised by this. However, let me say this. The quicker Floyd finally does go away, the quicker that Manny Pacquiao, and I respect Pacquiao so much for fighting Errol Spence, but I think he's going to lose that fight, okay? Him, Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya, there's several others that I'm forgetting. The sooner those guys go off into the distance and finally retire for good, the sooner this new generation can step up and take over. And I know some of you out there will say, well, this new generation needs these old school guys because they're the brands. Yes, if in the case of a Pacquiao Spence, I agree with you. Because in that case, the previous generation, because Pacquiao's not a fighter of this generation, he's of the previous generation. He's fighting a guy of this generation, right? So Pacquiao is going to build up Errol Spence's name. Now, in that case, yeah, stick around, dude. But if these old dudes want to come back and fight the Paul brothers or fight each other, they want to do a one-off grudge match, okay, have fun, whatever. But if you're doing this multiple times, it's not helping, especially these guys that are calling themselves promoters. Like Oscar De La Hoya is supposed to be promoting his young fighters. Unless you're going to get in there and fight one of these new young guys and build up their name, dude, pull back. Let it go. Your time is come and gone. Thank you for your contribution. We all owe you a debt for what you did for boxing. But it's time to walk into the sunset. Let these young guys have their time. It's also time for these young guys to step up and push out the old generation, because that's the truth. If these young cats would step up, these old dudes wouldn't have as many opportunities to come back. And by the way, let me say one last thing. If you were one of the people that bought the Mayweather Paul exhibition and you knew what it was and you didn't care, you're like, this, what was it, 50, 60 bucks? And you were like, dude, I just want to see the freak show. I want to see the circus. I'm a degenerate. I buy everything. I just want to watch this and laugh my ass off and have some fun. Cool. No harm, no foul. I'm not talking about you guys, because a lot of you guys are the same crowd that bought the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Triller show and things like that. Like, I ain't talking about you guys are just watching the circus, man. You're having fun. That's cool. I'm talking about the people right now that are complaining and mad. Like, man, that fight sucked. This pay-per-view sucked. He said he was going to go for the knockout. He said this is going to be a war. Dude, grow the fuck up. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Let's see. Jack is mad. Jack, you're coming off very entitled right now, Jack. You're in the chat saying it's time to answer calls. My show, pal. Chill the fuck out. All right. Let's see. Do we have any other? Yeah, Twal in the chat says, I think we degenerates already know this stuff. Yes. And if you're watching this show, you're a fight degenerate like me. I get it. Okay. But there are people out there that really, really are upset and like surprised at what took place. So like, that's kind of, I just have to have a little fun. I just have to have a little fun. 1 foot out the door says, who's Logan's fan base in the first place? I think young girls, honestly, but I truly don't know. I really don't know. Christopher Otto, what's up, Chris? He says, to be fair, Mike, what fighter is currently trying to plant his own flag to rise above? That's a great point. That's a great point. And it goes right to the last point I was trying to make. I mean, it is up to these young guys to like push the old generation out. And that's generally speaking what happens. You know what I'm saying? Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua pushed Vladimir Klitschko into retirement. I give Vlad props for fighting them when he didn't have to, but they pushed him out the door, right? There was no space for him anymore. I mean, Vlad could come back and still fight and do it, but he realized, okay, these are the top dudes now. The young guns, they're doing their thing, right? It's like back in the day when Michael Jordan pushed Magic Johnson and Larry Bird out. You know what I'm saying? It was his time. Those were the dudes. They paved the way for Jordan. Jordan pushed them out. That's how this thing's supposed to work. In a big sense, like Oscar De La Hoya helped build up Pacquiao with their fight. That was one generation passing the torch to the next. And now Pacquiao is probably going to do that for Errol Spence. There's a chance Pacquiao could win that fight, but I don't think so. I think Spence is going to win. So if Spence wins that fight, it's a passing of the torch kind of a thing. And that's what you want to see in boxing. But it is up to the young guys to push out these old dudes. I agree with you. Twal 1999 says, Pac is the exception at 42, still ruling the welterweight division and beating up on Al Heyman's stable. Hey, man, there ain't nothing wrong with 42-year-olds still doing their thing, just like me. But look, I don't know if he's ruling the welterweight division, okay? Pacquiao hasn't fought Crawford or Spence yet. Now, if he beats Spence, totally different discussion, dude. But him beating an old, or I'm sorry, not an old, but I think a half mentally checked out Keith Thurman, outstanding win considering all the intangibles like age and all that, natural size and strength. Yes. But I think Keith Thurman's always been a little overrated. And by the way, I said that before that fight. I know one of these guys just jumping out right now. So yeah, I don't think that Pac is running the show at welterweight right now. He hasn't fought in a long time. Yeah, Andrew Smith says Pac is not ruling anything. I hear you on that. Isan, what's up, man? He says, I think Pac is going to beat Errol. Now, look, again, if he beats Errol Spence, totally different discussion. Totally different discussion. Ray Valero, oh, man. He says, or Jordan pushing out Isaiah Thomas. Ray's from Chicago, and he knows I'm from Detroit. So you just had to get that dig in against my bad boys. Isaiah Thomas was my hero growing up. Even more so than Tommy Hearns. Yeah, he was my hero. Isaiah was my dude, man. That was my favorite player growing up. All right, let's get into the fight preview, shall we? And then I promise I'll get to some calls. All right, I know a couple of you are mad right now, but look, man, got to do it. Got to get through all this. Then we can take some calls. Chris Bergen, I gotta say, has a good comment here. Klitschko would still beat most of the top 15 right now. I agree with you on that. I do. It's just like Manny Pacquiao would beat most of the top 15 welterweights right now. But would he beat the very top couple guys? I don't know about that. I don't think so. And I see Klitschko in the same light. All right, preview, guys, real quick. UFC Fight Pass has a card from Mexico this Thursday, June 10. Saturday, June 12, we have a couple different cards. Over in the UK, Matchroom on the Zone, Eagles Community Arena in Newcastle. Lewis Ritson, 4-0 since his lone pro loss in 2018, going up against Argentinian Jeremiah Nicholas Ponce. And then here in the United States at the Virgin Hotels in Las Vegas, it is Top Rank on ESPN/ESPN Plus. In the main event, Shakur Stevenson, 15-0, 23 years old, going up against Jeremiah Nakathila from Namibia. I used to date a girl from Namibia. Really, really pretty girl. Really, really cute girl. She's married now with a few kids. Still looks pretty good, but yeah, I used to date a girl from Namibia. Anyway, Shakur Stevenson, yet to fight a legit top 10 130-pounder. Legit top 10 light or junior lightweight. I wanted to say lightweight. But so Stevenson is another one of these guys that I'm going to use that word pampered. I know, I'm sorry. I don't want to offend some of you. I know some of you out there are going to get your panties in a bunch. I won't use the other P word. I'll just say pampered. The only difference with Stevenson is he did go to the Olympics, right? And I do think that you go to the Olympics, you fare well in the Olympics. Then when you go pro, you're going to be a little pampered. You're going to get a little golden road treatment compared to other guys who didn't. So Stevenson did more as an amateur in that respect than guys like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, right? But he, again, is part of this generation that's a little pampered, in my opinion. But I expect a big win from him here. Jose Pedraza going up against Julian Rodriguez, who is a 21-0 prospect out of New Jersey. 221 wins as an amateur and only 9 losses. That's what his team reports. And that's a 140-pound fight. So this is a step-up fight for this prospect, Julian Rodriguez. Let's see what he could do against Pedraza. I think that's an interesting matchup. That's it for the preview, guys. So, yeah, not as much going on right now. I want to, I don't want to say dog days of summer, but the schedule isn't that loaded at the moment. You can tell that I've been off for a week because I'm losing my voice. I usually get through the show without losing my voice. Super chat pledge. Let's jump over here to Carlos Cabrera. What's up, Carlos? Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, let's not forget Donaire. I think he's an all-time great at the current weight class. Great point, man. He's almost 39. And again, at 118, if you're almost 39 and you're competing at that level, beating legit dudes, that's pretty special. At 126 and below, pretty much, man, your mid-30s is generally when guys are just done. I don't even want to say past their prime. They're kind of done in their mid-30s. And there's a couple dudes right now performing at a very high level, older than that. and Donaire is one of them. That was an outstanding performance. And what's crazy is Donaire says he wants a rematch against Inoue. I mean, you know what? It could happen. He has that title now. It could happen. And who the hell wouldn't want to see that? I know I sure as hell would. If they do that, man, bring it to Vegas. Please bring it to Vegas. Another super chat from Feeling Dangerous 113. Thank you so much. He says, well, I would have bought it if it was Triller. I think you're probably thinking about, or I guess you're referring to the Mayweather-Paul fight. So if it was Triller, you would have bought it. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you for the super chat. J&M says, you're going to get in trouble with your wife, buddy. Yeah. Here's the thing, man. Guys, if you get with a good woman, you know, and that it's a very important decision in your life. If I could give a little unsolicited advice, if you get with a really, really good woman, your life will prosper. And the one thing about me and my wife is we know each other's junk. She knows all my messed up shit that I did, all my crazy bullshit. She didn't really do too much messed up stuff. She's a much better person than me, but she knows just all my history. So I could talk about the Namibian girl I dated on the show. It's like, that's not going to bother her. There's nothing that I can say or that she's going to learn that's going to bother her because I've pretty much told her everything. I'm a pretty open book. That's the thing too with my haters on Twitter and stuff. It's like the worst thing you could find about me is a poorly worded tweet. Yeah. They go digging in my personal life. Trust me, I see it. I know when people are researching me and stuff. And, you know, they don't find anything in my personal life because there's nothing you're going to find. So the worst you're going to find about me is a nasty tweet or something. Anyway, Mal in the chat says, Inoue in his eye socket, wouldn't want to see that. Oh, play on words. That too. Yeah, well, maybe not. But I get the sense from Inoue that he's this proud warrior and he's, you know, willing to fight the best dudes. He went in that tournament and he didn't have to. So I think he'd take that rematch. I really do. W. Riles says, miss Matchroom boxing. Yeah, that's not a very good card from Matchroom. Matchroom has been crushing it this year, but their schedule over the summer is not very good. They had a great start to the year. I think Showtime is going to have the strongest schedule over the summer. Come, you know, fall and the fourth quarter and everything, let's see what happens. But Matchroom, yeah, they got to figure some things out, man. The whole heavyweight situation really, really hurt them. Really hurt them bad. Man, I scared everyone off the phones. I had like 3 calls on hold. I scared all you guys off. See how it is? I understand you guys want to talk. Cool, but I'm just saying this week I just wanted to, you know, get everything out of the way first and then do calls. Guys, just a little patience. Jeez. Scared all you off. One foot out the door says, honesty is the best policy. Yes. And let me tell you, I spent a long time, and some of you guys don't want to hear this, maybe just tell me, I'll shut up. But you know, I don't mind sharing my personal life. I was an absolute man whore. I've talked about this before, and I was a lying sack of shit. I was just a piece of crap for a long time, okay? And then you meet the right girl, and maybe some of it is just maturity, but you meet the right girl that makes you want to stop being a piece of shit. And so you stop being a piece of shit. You grow up. And then it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I think I'm going to marry this one. And boom, that's how it happens. That's how it happened. I never thought I'd get married, man. I never thought I'd get married. And then it was like, suddenly the prospect of it was like, this don't sound too bad. This sounds pretty cool because of what I have with my wife, the dynamic we have together and everything. It works. Ray Valero, the super chat. Thank you so much. He says, how high would you think Inoue could go? 130? I'd say right now, the cap for him, I'd say is 126. 126. And I think it's a slow build. Where he's at right now, keep him there. Let's see him clean out that division, right? And then move him up slowly. I don't want to see Inoue be one of these guys that does one fight and jumps up. One fight, jumps up. Oh, man, let him settle. Let him settle. All right, I think we have a call here. Whoever I scared is back. One of them. Let's jump to the phones real quick. Let me see. Make sure I got my phone line on. Yep. Okay. All right. 401. 401. You're on the show. What's up?
What's going on, Mike? It's Isan.
Isan, what's up, my man? How you doing?
Pretty good. I I wasn't scared off the line. I actually just told right now.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
I got a call. Yeah, I wanted to ask. I almost got my question. So if Taylor goes to 147, what do you see for him besides Crawford?
That's a good question because there's
Because he's going to be in the same situation as Floyd.
Yeah, I think that, look, there's possibly, I think at some point Teofimo Lopez is going to be around because I don't know if Teo is going to stick around at 140 forever, right? So there's a possible fight with Teofimo Lopez. There's a couple other young guys, prospects right now, the top ranks building up, but he is going to face a lot of the same problems that that Crawford faced. So, look, a fight with Crawford would get him a title, or it could work his way into a mandatory situation against Errol Spence, who's going to have most of the titles. So if he could get in there, let's say, work his way into a mandatory position with the BC or BA or whatever, and force a fight with Errol Spence, that's a big fight, man. That's a big fight.
Yeah, that's true. The same issues that Crawford's having with the other champions, obviously.
Yeah.
BBC, top rank. Oh, come on, dog.
What kind of dog is that? That sounds like one of those mini dogs. Is that like, do you have like a little, like a rat dog?
Yeah. No, it's my girlfriend. She has a little Chihuahua, but he's not bad. He actually never barks. It's just that he's like very protective. So when the door opens, he's like, like that, like what you'd expect of a little mini Mexican dog.
Gotcha.
What do you think of I think I can see Teofimo versus Ramirez at 140 before Taylor for one of the vacant titles when Taylor moves up. That's what Ramirez said too. He said he wants to face Teofimo for any of the belts.
Yeah, I welcome that fight. Obviously, that's huge. Sam A in the chat just said Regis Prograis. He wants a rematch with Taylor, and that would be at 147. That would be a good fight, and I think he deserves a rematch. So yeah.
Regis has been saying he's having trouble making 140 for a while too. So
yeah,
that'll be it. Yeah, I think all the guys at 140 could easily do like a tournament at 147. Do Ramirez versus Prograis at 140 for one of the titles, or Ramirez versus Teofimo. You know, I think Prograis would stop Teo though. Honestly,
Prograis.
I don't know.
Yeah, Prograis is an explosive, hard puncher, man.
Yeah, true, and he's bigger. Like Teo, he's big at 135, but I don't know about 40 though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think, and the thing is, man, Teo is going to wind up at 47 at one point when he hits his when he late 20s. Early 30s, he's going to be at 47. It's going to be interesting to see how he fares at 47.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think Ramirez versus Teo. I think that's going to be the fight for Teo soon. Like maybe I don't know. I think Haney versus Teo makes the most sense, but I don't know. It's just hard to see happening.
Yeah, unfortunately, that fight ain't happening, and I'd love to see it. I would love to see it, but it ain't happening. Not anytime soon.
Unfortunately, not till they're 28 probably.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one day at 147, that's when they finally fight. You know, all these guys, well, let's see, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, all these guys are going to be at 40, 47 in the coming years. And maybe that's when they start fighting. I'm cool with that. I just want to see him fight, you know?
Yeah, it's just going to suck, though, because Teo's never going to have the full undisputed credit that he deserves.
Well, if he could get a fight with Taylor right now, he could. But you mean at 35? Yeah. That's the WBC, man. Again, I don't put that on Devin Haney. I put that in the WBC.
Yeah, people blame Teo too, as if he had anything to do with it.
Yeah,
all he did was just face the best.
Yeah, that's not Teo's fault at all, man. And it's like, does anyone out there doubt that Teofimo Lopez would fight Devin Haney right now? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just think Teo would wreck him up. I think it would be like a chess match at first, but I just think down the stretch, I think Teo would maybe not stop him, but I think he'd maybe drop him or just start beating him up late. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, based on what we've seen from both of them, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Teo's a little more. I think Teo's a little, maybe not a lot, but he's pretty handily ahead of Haney right now, which is fine. I mean, they're still both growing.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you fight with Nakatani, Kome, and Lomachenko, yeah, you're going to be ahead. you know?
Yeah, way ahead. All right, it was good talking to you. I just wanted to call and see what's up.
All right, brother. Have a good one, man.
All right.
All right.
You too. Bye.
Chris Bergen in the chat says, if you're undisputed and move up, aren't you guaranteed a title shot? Isn't that what happened with Usyk with the BO? So that's a specific rule with the WBO. If you have the WBO championship at whatever weight, if you move up, you can request being a mandatory for the WBO at the new weight. So if Taylor wanted to, he could immediately be the WBO mandatory for Terrence Crawford at 147. But if I were him, I'd try to work into a mandatory with the BC or one of them to go after Spence, because he's going to have, 3 of the titles soon? I think he has 2 of them now. So, all right, well, okay, we got a couple calls here. Let's jump on these calls real quick. All right, 317, you're on the show. 317, what up?
All right, you didn't have a show last week, so I want to get into what happened there real quick. And I was telling everyone before how Devin Haney would not knock out Jorge Linares. And one thing you can say that you'll definitely agree is definitely a weakness in Haney. He has no power at all, and you can't say, oh well, he's like Floyd. Oh, he has some power. He has no power. He can't hurt people. He has no power at all. He couldn't hurt a Jorge Linares at all. He couldn't hurt a faded Gamboa at all. He has no power. Devin Haney has no power whatsoever.
This is Jack, right? Just want to make sure everyone knows. What's up, Jack? Yeah, man. Look, I agree with you. Haney at 35, because he squeezes down into that weight and he's so young, he should have explosive power at that weight. But he's got minimal power at 35. When he goes up to 40, I actually think his stamina is going to be better and everything, but his legs will be a little better, but his power ain't going to improve. Yeah, he's never going to be a power puncher, ever.
Yeah, I was telling and then I also told people, like I told you, man, I'm the prediction king. I also said, okay, guys, I could also see a Linares TKO, but I'm leaning towards Haney on points. And I mean, look, later on in the fight, he had him hurt, and who knows what happened if the bell didn't save him. But besides that, also, I've been getting into betting lately, and I just want to say, how much of a steal was the Donaire Ubali fight? Like, how retarded do you have to be to think that Ubali is gonna beat like Donaire? Like he was such a big favorite. It's like, you guys are so stupid.
Was he really a big favorite? I didn't know that.
Yes, dude. I bet $5. No, I bet. How much did I bet? Wait, let me check the DraftKings real quick. So I bet, okay, $5 and I won $16.25.
Damn.
I should have bet a lot more. Yeah, I should have bet a lot more. And another thing I wanted to say is, we already got through that fight. Donaire's a legend. You can't count him out ever. But I saw this really funny tweet. Like, I don't know if you saw it after the Hurd fight last night. So a tweet from Boxing Scene said, Jared Hurd said, I don't want no other fight next besides the Charlo Gustavo winner. And then fucking Cameron Gillian quoted the tweet and said, well, your next fight is going to be against Sam Eggington at Fight Camp on a Dylan White undercard, I'm afraid, mate.
Oh, shit. God damn. I feel for Hurd, man. That's just, damn, that's rough. I respect the dude for wanting to fight the best, but man, that performance, I didn't see the fight. Did you see it? His performance against Arias?
Dude, it was so good. You got to watch it ASAP. It was such a fun fight, and I don't even think it was from J-Rock. I just think Arias, this was like the first guy he couldn't bully in weight.
Okay.
I mean, he wasn't bullying Arias. Arias was going toe-to-toe with him, and Arias, he lost to Luke Keeler, bro.
Yeah.
Like, who wins? Me, Luke Keeler. I beat Luke Keeler. No, I'm just playing. But come on, Luke Keeler. Come on now. Like, I don't. That fight was just weird. Like a better Arias a while back went a full 12 rounds with a prime Daniel Jacobs without getting. Well, he got dropped. Well, he got dropped against Hurd, but it was a flip. Then in the last second, 1 second, dude, I'm telling you, it was such a good fight. You got to watch it right after this.
Okay.
Last second, the bell of round 12, the bell rung, and 1 second after, Hurd landed a punch, an overhand right, and it dropped whatchamacallit, Arias. But The ref said it wasn't a knockdown, and like Hurd was pissed because he was round 12 and it was like a close round. But 1 second after the bell, Hurd dropped him. But they said it wasn't a knockdown, and it wasn't because it was after the bell. But that was a good ass fight. Then one more thing I wanted to say about the Mayweather like Logan Paul thing, dude. That was actually like I was surprised, not that it went the distance, but that Logan landed like right hands on him. I was like, wait, what the hell is this? I thought, and Floyd didn't like throw it all, but he actually landed like a bunch of jabs on Floyd. And I know it's like scripted and everything, but I was like, why would Floyd let Logan hit him? Like, I was so shocked.
Yeah, I doubt Floyd's reflexes are what they were, man, with the head movement and stuff. I think Floyd, if I had to guess, his thought process was, I'm going to choose which punches I get hit with. And I'm going to let myself get hit with jabs because I don't want to get hit with nothing big. So he probably let himself take a jab here and there to see the big shots coming, the big hooks, big uppercuts, big right hands, to at least roll with them, partially, move with them, that kind of thing.
This guy in the chat. No. Hey, want to hear my impression of you though? This is pretty good.
Of who? Of me?
John Udin. Yeah, John Udin in the chat.
John's not on today. I don't know where John is.
I don't know, but hey, Justin S said, "God, I'm doing my inner YouTube. I really am. I'm stealing your show." Justin S said, "Damn, Jack predicted Haney would win by decision, but Linares would still be a threat. Is this dude psychic or what?" Yes, sir. I'm actually so fucking good. And Mike, I also bet that the fight would go the distance. Hurd and Arias. I didn't even bet on Hurd winning decision. I just said it would.
I would have picked that. Yeah, I would have picked that. I could say that's a smart bet. Yeah, I don't bet because I'm not supposed to, so I don't get involved in that stuff. But man, I've helped a lot of people make a lot of freaking money. But man, I got a few other calls I got to jump to, bro. But thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I was just joking earlier too. You got so pissed.
I wasn't pissed.
I was like, "Yo, fuck you." You were like, "It's my show, pal."
It's my show, pal.
Chill. Why you gotta be a dick about it?
I'm not being a dick. You're the one like, "Hey, get to the phone." So I'm like, "Fuck you." It's my show. All right,
no, Mike. You said it's time. You said it's time for. You said it's also time for like 3 times, and I said it's also time to answer the calls.
I know you're just talking shit, man. I didn't take it personal at all, bro. Nah, you're all good, Jack. You're good,
all right, man.
Get back to Myers. Get back to Myers so we could get you fired from your job, man.
I called off today.
Oh shit! You gotta call again from work so I can fuck with your customers again.
Yeah, paper only, bitch.
That was fucking great. All right, man. I'll talk to you later, Jack.
All right, man. All right. Peace out.
Peace. There he goes. We got another super chat here I want to get to real quick. J&M with the super chat. Thank you so much, J&M. He says, I see J&M, by the way. My sister's name is Jennifer. So I think Jennifer and Michael. I think of my sister. Anyway, he says, I don't agree. Haney has no power. Who is the guy Haney knocked out cold with an overhand right? Thanks, Mike. Yes, I remember that. Let's look it up because now I can't even remember who that guy's name was. I'm going to pull it up here on my trusty second monitor. That wasn't Abdulayev, was it? Antonio Moran? I don't know, dude. It might have been Abdulayev. You guys are going to have to remind me because no, it wasn't Abdulayev. It must have been Antonio Moran. I think it was Antonio Moran with a KO7. And look, but it's Antonio Moran, right? So, and that's no disrespect. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Antonio Moran, who is 26-4-1. I'm just pulling up his record here. He had a draw with Yomar Alamo. He lost to Jose Pedraza. No shame in that. Also has a loss to Emmanuel Lopez, a couple guys you never heard of, okay, back in Mexico. And this is also a guy who started his career, he's pretty much fought at 135 for the most part. But, yeah, dude, it's Antonio Moran. That's why. So, look, to say that Haney can't punch at all, I think is unfair. I think he has decent power at 135. But when I look at a kid that's melting down, boiling down to make 135, and I look at a kid who's 22, he should have explosive power at 35, right? I mean, that's what we see from Teofimo Lopez at 35. Now, he's a short, compact little dude. He just punches harder. When he moves to 40, 47, which Teo ultimately will, he is going to not have that same kind of power as he moves up. But at least he's got that explosive, concussive power at 35 to start with. That's what you expect from a young guy melting down, right? Haney is a guy who's going to have to rely solely on his boxing craft. If he catches a dude with a shot that he doesn't see coming, yeah, he can sleep you. Anyone can do that. Anyone can do that in pro boxing, okay? Especially someone as skilled as Haney. But against the elite level fighter, it's going to be hard to catch an elite level dude at 35, 40, 47, etc., with a shot that they don't see coming. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be hard to sleep guys at that elite level. So it's going to be a struggle for him. He's going to have to rely on skills. All right, we got a few more calls, and we're going to make these quick. All right, 570, you're on the show. What's up?
Hey, is this Joe Piscopo?
What's up, man? Is this Thad? What's going on?
That cracked me up. Yeah, look, it's pretty simple. Devin Haney is what Teofimo Lopez said he was, and that's food. Once these guys know you have no power and no chin, it's all over. And you're right. When he boils himself down to 35, this guy walks around about 170. Okay. Yeah. And he has no power. He must have the smallest hands on the face of the earth with that big body, because he's a part of Snack with Victor Conte.
Yes.
And he's got some things going on there to boil guys down. So it's just a matter of time. I think that Haney's dad, who's reluctant to put him in there with any killers, because let's be honest, Linares at 36, he's no threat. And Giovanni, or the guy he fought previous to that, he was no threat, 38 years old, coming off an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time before Haney is exposed and goes the way of Eddie Hobson. Remember him? He fought on Wild World of Sports. Yeah, he fought on Wild World of Sports, and Dan Deerdorf and all those guys were calling the fight.
You're going way back.
Tracy Harris Patterson.
Yeah.
Knocked him out in one round. And why is that? Because Eddie Hobson had speed, he had hype, and he had no chin. Well, that's Devin Haney. And you could also say Terrence Carlson from Philadelphia, great tactical fighter, zero power whatsoever, wasn't a pro fighter basically, great amateur, but that's Devin Haney in a nutshell. So anyone who wants to make money out there, as soon as Devin Haney has to fight a real top-notch fighter, whoever it may be, Lomachenko or Lopez, Garcia, you name it, he's going to get sparked out. So whatever you have in the bank, you put it on those guys. So, I'm limited on time. So if you could comment about that after. But okay. One thing I want to ask, George Kambosos, he said that if Lomachenko would have opened up earlier, he would have gotten him out of there, Teofimo. He said that basically Teo, he really can't take it. So he's going to probably come out in this fight opening up on him. And he's real fast. He's a fast fighter. To me, this looks like an easy under. I think this is going to be a KO for Lopez early. So based on that, I think he tipped his hat on what he's going to do. So these Australian fighters are pretty tough, but they don't have that type of sparring down there, to really get hit by big punchers. And Lopez is a big guy at lightweight.
His hands are massive.
Lomachenko, because of his injury, he's a big guy. Lomachenko's a small guy. He was right about Loma. But again, if Loma opened up early, who knows what could have happened. But I think that's something everyone has to take a look at. And then with Paulie Malignaggi's comments about Deontay Wilder in the rematch, he said Wilder is going to get demolished. But he had one point that I want you to comment. Will Wilder be in physical danger because the one guy in his corner, Mark Breland, was the only guy who really understood what boxing is about? Because now he has Malik Scott, who took a dive in the fight with Wilder, basically no character integrity. He's going to be calling the shots in that corner. So if he's taking a beating and a pummeling, which I think is going to happen, Fury is just going to steamroll this guy. will they be able to pull Wilder out, or will it be some kind of weird ending? Maybe Fury might even pull himself out and not wanting to end Wilder's life. I could honestly see something like that happening. Something doesn't add up with that betting line because Fury is only minus 300. He's only 3 to 1. He should be about 12 to 1. So something stinks in Denmark, to be quite honest. So I know you're pressed for time. If you want to just answer those questions, and I'll listen.
Okay, cool. I'll let you off.
Offline.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
So, some good points there by Thad. Really good point about the Lopez Kambosos fight that I hadn't thought about. Before I answer that, got a super chat pledge from my man CJ. CJ, thank you so much. He says, "I'm just here so I won't get fined." Marshawn Lynch. Great quote. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well out there in Vegas. I heard it was like $120 or something recently. I don't know how you deal with that shit. Okay, Deontay Wilder. Look, I cannot reveal who I spoke with, but I spent about an hour talking to a senior boxing insider Friday. Really, really good dude who actually reached out to me. We talked about a few different things, but we did hit on, and we talked about some of the deals going on and stuff, gave me some insights and behind the scenes kind of insight into some of these deals, Matchroom, Top Rank, some of the deals that they have structured. But we also talked about the third fight between Fury and Wilder, because I don't know, man, I'm starting to just get a weird feeling about that fight and that matchup. And I on the surface, it looks like this is Wilder's side trying to get paid one more time. That guarantee that they have in that contract gets them a certain amount of money, and they want to get into that third fight. But the timing of this thing, the way the arbitration worked out, the way Top Rank completely blew it, just everything involved. The Fury being, preparing his body for one specific opponent, one specific fight, and then coming out and now having to prepare for a different fight. I got this gut feel that we're in for a very competitive third fight. I don't know. My brain tells me what Thad said, that Fury should blow right through Wilder again. If you look at throughout the course of boxing history, after an absolute bludgeoning like that, generally speaking, the psychological factor is so heavy that if they fight again, it kind of plays out the same way. And I don't know, man, like that's how it should go, right? But something just tells me that there's something afoot. It just doesn't. Some of the trickery and politics, as Lennox Lewis used to call them, are present. And I heard some things, but this person that I talked to said, look, man, they agree with that. They said that this is going to be an absolute beatdown once again. This is just going to be an absolute beatdown. And the corner probably won't stop the fight. It's going to be up to the referee or somebody like that to stop the fight. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I do know that Jay Diaz and Malik Scott are more yes men, but I also know that Malik Scott was a fighter like Mark Breland was. And at some point as a fighter, if you see your man getting beat up like that, what he's going through because you've been through that yourself to some degree. And at some point, your heart has to kick in, your brain has to kick in. You just got to say, even if it gets me fired, I'm going to end this thing. I would like to think Malik Scott would end it if that happened again, but I don't know. So it's a good point that brings up. And I've talked to other people that kind of agree with him that this will be another one-sided beating and it won't be stopped. It'll kind of get really, really ugly at some point to where the fans are kind of turned off. But for me, my gut feel here is that this third fight is going to be much more competitive than the rematch was. That's what I feel. I just feel that in my gut that we have a distance fight. Fury has $75 million on the line if he wins this fight with Anthony Joshua. They had agreed to terms in principle, and they had investors apparently that were willing to put up $150 over there in the Middle East. So with that kind of money on the line, would you want to take a risk, or would you kind of play it safe in the ring? I remember when Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and I covered that event. I was ringside. Me and my wife were there. And there were a lot of people saying, dude, what round is this going to end? 4th round, 5th round? How soon before Canelo just blows this guy out and destroys him. And I'm thinking, man, they got the announcement with Golovkin lined up. There's $50 million coming down the pike here with the two fight. Actually, it's going to be more than that for Canelo because Gennady got that. So you're talking, life-changing money. He's going to play it safe. And what happened? Canelo and Chavez went the distance, and a lot of people were upset. But Canelo kind of laid off, did just enough, touched him just enough, laid off. And that's just kind of how I see this third fight. And I just wonder what the scorecards are going to read, man. I got a weird feeling going into that third fight. All right, a couple more calls, guys. Then we're going to wrap it up. 818, you're on the show. What's up? 818.
Hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing, bro?
What's up, man?
Well, can you hear me, bro?
I can hear you. Yep.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? Hey, so I know you watched that Logan Paul and Mayweather fight, bro.
Nope. I didn't watch a minute of it, man. Did you watch it?
No, but you know what I did catch was I was what's it called? Curious about that Hurd and Arias fight. So I watched some highlights. I don't know if you watched the highlights of it.
Yeah, it looks like it was a great fight. A lot of people in the chat said it was a good fight. Jack was on the line earlier, said it was a great fight. So I definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, I mean the highlights are pretty good, man. But Jared Hurd, he I guess he was at 154. I guess this fight was at 154, I believe.
No, it was 160. I think
it was 160.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was at 160. Yeah.
Either way, bro, Hurd looks way too big for 154 or 160, man. I mean, this time around, from what I was catching, I think he even looked bigger than his other fights at 160. I guess just gained too much weight after, but he did look a little sluggish. And Arias, he's a decent fighter, and he's always just came up short. But this time around, he put a lot more effort. I think he just went all out on this fight with Hurd. But I think it's gonna be tough for her to bounce back on this one, man. He was never the best boxer, and he did take a lot of punishment, in his previous fights. But harder for him to bounce back, and unless they rebuild him a little more and give him some chicken scratch or whatever. But what do you think about Hurd, man, right now as far as his loss? I mean, did you even think he was going to lose?
No, I thought he was going to win. I mean, this was matched up for him to be matched tough to get in rounds, but to win. And Luis Arias has been in there with guys like I think Daniel Jacobs gone a distance. He generally speaking goes rounds. He has been stopped. He has lost several times, but for the most part, he goes rounds. And this, on the surface was good matchmaking, but Hurd just didn't look the same, man. And I talked about this earlier when I reviewed the fight. Even though I haven't seen it yet, I don't know where Jarrett Hurd goes from here because he, was kind of a weight bully at 154. He was able to bully guys. And it took a fighter like J-Rock, who has really good, strong inside game that could get in there and fight back and push back and turn Jarrett Hurd to really beat him. But now that, that blueprint's out there, I just don't know because at 160, even 168, because like you said, he still looks huge at 160. If he has to go up to 168, man, I just don't know how he's going to hang with the elite level guys. But I mean, Arias isn't even, I don't even know if he's a top 10 middleweight. He's top 15, I guess. But if Hurd's losing to a guy like that, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Arias, he's definitely, I don't know if he's any, like you said, and he's not even a big 160 area. So that was just a really big blow to his career, to Hurd's career. But I don't know, it'll be, like I said, we'll be able to rebuild. But either way, man, I just caught your show right now, so just kind of woke up. But with the Fury and Wilder fight, what you were saying, I mean, more than I do. Boxing is full of bullshit, bro. It's all a soap opera. The only thing that's real are the fights. Yeah. And it's more than iffy how it all went down with the whole negotiations and
man, it looks weird. Doesn't it look weird, bro?
Fury's happening.
It just looks weird, man.
It looks more than weird.
Yeah, and Top Rank, they've been in business for over 50 years. They, generally speaking, they play the long game on stuff like this. They're usually way ahead of the curve on these sorts of negotiations. For them to blow it like this, it just looks strange, man. And the timing of it, the way everything's working, it could just be that they're doing a great job selling this thing, and I'm buying into it. But I just got this feel that we got a distance fight, and I wonder about those scorecards. I just don't know what we're gonna get with this third fight between Fury and Wilder.
Well, if anything, man, the scorecards will probably read, in my opinion, for Wilder. He is an American fighter, and he still definitely can sell, especially if he wins this fight. So
Yeah.
I don't know where the whole I guess the advantage point for Fury would be in this case, but I think them making this fight also, not handling the whole arbitration situation is kind of iffy, especially when it was so close to getting the Joshua fight done. So I mean, it could go either way at this point, but it comes down to Wilder's team already. I'm assuming would have already known, as well as Bob Arum. They would have already known, what the arbitration outcome would have been. But I don't know how long it was into the arbitration. But there should have been a point in time when you kind of get an idea of what the outcome would be.
Yeah.
And nobody ever said anything. I guess the only one that got gypped at this point is Eddie Hearn. But
yeah,
like you said, Fury has a lot of money on the line, so he should be pissed at the whole situation.
Yeah, I would be furious, man. And just the thing is with Wilder, here's I could spend an hour talking about this when you get into all the conspiracy shit, which I don't like to go down that road. But last year, Top Rank's side, Fury's side, was willing to talk to Wilder's side about doing the third fight. They talked about doing it toward the end of the year. They explored it. And Wilder's side, the management was like, well, we want fans because we need fans to sell tickets, to make money for the guaranteed purses, this, that, the other. And they wanted to wait until there was fans. That was their explanation for why they were delaying everything last year when Top Rank was willing to make the third fight. They wanted to get that shit out of the way at the end of last year. Wilder's side didn't, because they wanted to make more money selling tickets. Then it goes into arbitration as soon as Bob Arum and Fury and those guys are like, we're going to move on to make this fight with Joshua then. Then it goes into arbitration, and then Wilder's side starts saying, nah, dude, this is about honoring the contract. This is about legacy. I want this fight to get revenge, blah, blah, blah. Well, dude, you could have had the fight for revenge last year. It just seems that the timing of it's opportunistic. It's kind of shady. I do think it's all about money. They are doing it now because they can sell tickets and make some money. Although I think this fight's gonna struggle. It's not gonna sell as well as the rematch did. But it's just, I don't know, man. The whole thing looks weird, and it's held up the entire fucking sport for a year now. I'm just over it. I just want to get this fight done. But isn't it funny? As soon as the arbitration ruling goes down, about a week later, we had an announcement for the fight. And it's not like the fight's happening in September. It's happening next month, dude. It just looks funny, man.
Exactly. So that's exactly where all this is looks fishy and all that, But you know what? I'll be watching this fight regardless and see what happens. But one last thing, man. I know you posted something on Twitter about people taking shit the wrong way or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter, right? I'm only on there just for like the boxing. That's pretty much all I look up and follow. And I'll tweet here once in a while. I'm not a big I don't socialize on there or whatever you call it on there at all. I'm just there for that, and that's it, But I do make comments once in a while, and it's funny because I have no followers. I don't care about. It doesn't matter to me. That's not even an important thing to me. But it's funny how sometimes I post up some stuff, and people just go ahead and their comeback is, says the one with no followers and stuff like that. So like, it's a lot of people really serious on there, and I'm like, really, I guess I'm surprised because I'm not one of those social media guys, how all that works online, but I'm not like, and I can see how people can really, I was talking to my woman about this, but I can see how people that are really into social media, like that's their livelihood, can get offended by comments that other people make, about whatever it is that they're commenting or about followers or likes or whatever, because it's like a mind game sometimes on there. But holy crap, bro! Like I didn't realize how bad that was. I guess I don't pay that much attention to it.
You're better off, bro. It's a really nasty place, and some people don't like me talking about it here on the show, but it's just people don't understand. I get shit on Twitter, and it's not just Twitter. It's on all the social media platforms, but specifically Twitter. Every day, dude, I get nasty DMs. I get nasty responses to my tweets every day. I could literally tweet, "Man, what a beautiful sunrise this morning," and somebody will respond, "Fucking racist. What about the moon, bro? Don't you think about the fucking moon? You're always talking about the sun." It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can see how. I mean, because you're part of the media on for sport. How that goes with you, man. That's so bad for you. But hey, man, don't even worry about it, bro.
Yeah, I laugh at it. I just laugh at it.
All right, hey, well, man, thanks for your time, and another day, another dollar.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, we're gonna jump to the last call of the show. See, this worked out, guys. This worked out perfect. We got the calls at the end. So this is working out great. We got some great calls today. All right, 513, you're the last call of the show. Go.
Hey, Michael, how you doing? This is Andrew. I might not be able to catch the show next week, so I got a real simple question for you. I looked at the schedule. They got a lot of fights, not this weekend, but next weekend. I was just wondering, which one are you going to be watching live?
Great question. June 19th is loaded, dude. Everybody's fighting on June 19th. I will actually be working. There is a fight card here in Atlanta. I'm actually going to have some fighters from that card on my show next week. I don't know if you remember Yuri Foreman. He was a title holder at junior middleweight for a while. He's going to be on that show and a few others. And I'm going to be doing the ringside commentary. There's going to be a live stream for that show on the internet. And I'll be doing commentary along with Zahir Rahim. I don't know if you remember him. He beat Eric Morales once. He was a good fighter out of Philly. Really good amateur, a good pro. So me and him are going to be calling the action from ringside. My wife will be there doing photography. That's at Buckhead Fight Club here in Atlanta. Terry Moss is the promoter. So that's where I'll be. And so I won't see any of these fights live, dude. I'm going to be working that night. So there's the answer. I know it's a sellout answer, but that's the answer.
Well, help me out here a little bit.
Okay, all right.
What I'm going to tune into if you had the opportunity.
Well, you could turn into the fights I'll be covering. I'll actually post a link that you guys can check out with. I'm actually looking up the schedule. I want to make sure I don't miss anything, but I'll send you guys a link where you can watch me. So whatever you do, whatever you watch, at least pull up on your laptop or something and watch my stuff that I'll be doing ringside. But we've got Inoue fighting on ESPN. And that's pretty much going to be a one-sided fight. We've got the Triller pay-per-view. Now, here's the thing, dude. So with the Triller pay-per-view, you got to pay for that. That's Lopez Kambosos. And then what else? I know we got more than that. We've got Jermall Charlo in a one-sided beatdown. So that's a pretty decent card, though, on Showtime. We got some other fights on there that are interesting. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is fighting Anderson Silva on a pay-per-view from Jalisco. His father's fighting on that card. By the way, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. follows me. How cool is that? He retweets my shit sometimes. That's so cool. Jaime Munguia is fighting Messias Sulecki on DAZN, and Beck the Bully's fighting on that. Oof, you know what? That might get my vote, dude, because I want to watch. Blair Cobbs is on that show. He's fun to watch. Bektamir Melokuziev is fighting. Bektaboli. He's fun to watch. Jaime Munguia is fun to watch. If I had to choose between these, I might watch that DAZN card. And it's also in El Paso, Texas. That's going to have a good crowd. I'm going to see who's on the undercard. Yeah, this Lopez Kambosos undercard is kind of crap. And the
Triller commentary tends to make up for the lack of an undercard.
Well, that's a good point. Okay, so let me ask you. Are you a fan of the Triller production? How, you're going to see concerts, you're going to see Snoop Dogg getting high as fuck with Al Bernstein, cursing it up.
I find it interesting, like the whole Triller production thing. But my thought is like, okay, the whole Paul brothers fight, and then Showtime signed them, which I don't like. Like, if you're going to be a sideshow, do it right.
Yeah,
like,
I completely agree with you.
One thing they get right, they do sideshow right, and I'm just kind of real curious to I kind of want to see it, how an actual boxing card would look with the Triller.
Yeah, and you know what?
And all that stuff going.
Boxing and Bulldogs here in the chat brings up a good point. That Triller card is the return of Jim Lampley. He's going to call the action for Lopez Kambosos, that card. So if you want to see Jim Lampley getting high with Snoop Dogg, that's going to be a free show. Maybe that's the one, bro. If money's not an option and you don't mind spending the pay-per-view dollars, maybe that's the one.
Because I could, that's the thing I'm thinking of. Like, the Triller card's the one I'd really want to just watch live. And, like, I wouldn't really care to catch up on it. The other ones I could just, watch the rest of the weekend because, DAZN's real handy with on demand. You just go back, watch the whole fight card replay.
That's a good point, brother.
Best setup for that.
Yeah, Andrew Smith in the chat says Triller said this will be a more traditional broadcast. I don't know. I don't know if Triller's capable of doing traditional broadcasts. We shall see. But you bring up a good point, bro, that if you want to watch one of them live, you can DAZN, ESPN Plus, you can watch all that stuff later. Same with Showtime. So maybe you should watch the Triller one live.
Yeah, that might be what I do. I appreciate you taking my call, and happy early birthday. So
thank you so much, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, take
bro.
it easy.
You too, man. There he goes. And Adam P in the chat says, one last Lampley cry, I'm down. Lampley does cry a lot, doesn't he? And you know what? I love Jim Lampley's commentary. Love his commentary, okay? I think that he's always done a great job and, best in the business, obviously. But dude does cry a lot, and it's kind of fun just to have fun with it. Like, there's so many memes of him crying and the bang, bang, bang. Come on, let's fight. Let's fight right now. Bang, bang. That shit's funny. All the memes you guys make about that stuff, I can't help but, forward them and laugh at it and stuff. He does say some funny stuff, and he does do some silly stuff when he cries. You could just be like, Jim Lampley makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and some of the peanut butter gets over the crust, Peanut butter got on the countertop, and he starts crying. Like, he'll cry about any damn thing. So he probably, especially if he gets high with Snoop, he'll probably cry this Saturday. Or next Saturday, I should say. All right, guys. That's it, man. Great show, everybody. We'll do it again next week, all right? I'll be 42 years old next week. Crazy! All right. See you at the fights. Peace.